Manchester United have made an official approach to Sporting Lisbon for striker Gyökeres. United in the market for a new goalkeeper in the January transfer window, and Leny Yoro set to make his debut in the Premier League this coming Wednesday. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Make sure to smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, don't forget to subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, very close to 40,000 subscribers now. So go and do that. And let's get straight on with the show. Okay, so I want to start off by talking a little bit about this new goalkeeper situation, because this one caught me by surprise this morning, but it was coming out from a reliable source. And the immediate headline is that Manchester United are very happy with Andre Onana, and they see him as one of the current highest performing players, which I would agree with. I think he's been very good this season. He's got the most clean sheets in the Premier League. I would say at this point in time, he's up there this season with one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. I'm not saying ever, I'm just saying in this current season, which I think is a fair statement to make. But apparently Manchester United are now entering the market for a new goalkeeper. It's being described as a second goalkeeper, so it's not going to be someone to replace Onana. But there is an understanding that apparently Altay Bayindir is looking to leave Manchester United. And can you really blame him? He was the number one goalkeeper for Fenerbahce. He was the captain of Fenerbahce as well. And he also used to be the Turkish national team goalkeeper. Apparently he's lost his space as the national team goalkeeper. Obviously, he's not playing at all. I think he's played once. Is it once or twice in 2 years? I can't remember. I know he played against Newport in the FA Cup, I think it was, last season. But I think he might have played once this season as well. Sorry, last season. Anyway, he's barely played. He's played a couple of games, which is pretty disappointing for him. And I was trying to work it all out yesterday because I could see people being like, oh, he only came for the money. But the really, really weird thing about this story, right? At Manchester United, Altay Bayindir's earning 30,000 a week, pounds, okay? And I thought, that doesn't sound like that much in the grand scheme of things, right? And when he played for Fenerbahce, I've got the wages up here for Fenerbahce, he was earning 38,000 euros per week. So if you do a little cheeky conversion, you do euros to pounds. So he was earning about £31,500 per week at Fenerbahce, and he's earning 35,000 a week at Man United. So the point I'm trying to make here is, I mean, obviously he's earning a bit more now, but it's not like crazy amounts more. He's earning a couple of £1,000s per week more than what he earned at Fenerbahce. It's not like Anthony, who was earning 20,000 a week at Ajax and then gets 200 grand a week at Man United. Like you can, that's massive amounts of money difference. Like, yeah, it's a little bit strange. I don't know. I mean, he probably just thought he's going to have the opportunity to move to the biggest club in the world. He's going from Fenerbahce, who's obviously a massive club in Turkey, going to the biggest club in the world, biggest club in England, Like, I don't know. Maybe he thought he'd get more game time. Maybe he was promised more game time. I guess we'll never really find out, will we? But I definitely think moving him on is the correct decision because, he clearly is a decent goalkeeper. He was the first team goalkeeper for Fenerbahce, the first team national team goalkeeper, and now he's effectively just sat on the bench and he's not even playing for the national team, which is disappointing for him, I'm sure. And he's still relatively young. He's only 24. So, yeah, the headline this morning is that apparently Man United are now looking for a new goalkeeper because they believe that Altay Bayindir will be sold. It says there's an expectation that Altay Bayindir will leave the club in one of the next two transfer windows, so either in January or the summer. It goes on to say that Altay Bayindir is simply too good to be a number two behind Onana and currently has no prospects for any playing time at Manchester United, which is a shame. I know last season a lot of people were saying, why isn't Bayindir getting a chance? But, I mean, if he wasn't going to get a chance last season, he's definitely not going to get a chance this season. Let's be fair here. Onana last season was absolutely awful, terrible. Made some of the worst mistakes I think I've ever seen from a goalkeeper. And Bayindir still didn't get a chance. So how is he going to get him out of the team now if Onana is probably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League at the moment? Or one of them, I'm sure there'll be people saying, oh, this person's better and all the rest of it. But you get the point. He's top of the goal. He's top of the clean sheets he seems to have got all the mistakes out of his game, and he looks very improved. So yeah, but it'll be interesting to see who Manchester United end up going for as this new goalkeeper. I think Onana has proved himself. I think it's the classic situation where Onana had an awful first season and he's managed to turn it around, and I'm really happy for him. I think he's worked out, and hopefully he just continues with this form. Hopefully he continues to build, continues to grow, and yeah, I mean, he's only 28 still as well, Onana. So goalkeepers go until what, late 30s? If he keeps performing, there's no reason why he can't be here for another 5-10 years. And maybe that's me getting a bit ahead of myself, but the point I'm making is he's kind of got over his bad patch at the beginning. He's now coming out the other side. He's in good form. And if he can continue to grow and build, which I think he will, he's got the right personality, he's got the right mentality, I think he could be a success at Manchester United. So that's my take on that. But obviously you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's move on from that though, and let's jump on over to this story about Gyokeres. This is coming out from Florian Plettenberg, who is the German Sky Sports journalist. He is reporting this morning that Manchester United have now made official contact with Sporting Lisbon over a deal for Victor Gyokeres. I mean, he's the player that everybody seems to want, isn't it? He's an absolutely quality player. Was scoring goals for fun, which under Ruben Amorim at Sporting. I think he'd be a great signing. For me, the question is how much money is he going to cost? And, you're hearing figures 80 to 100 million euros, which maybe is his value, but it's just where we get that money from. And the story does go on to say that apparently Manchester United will have to sell to buy in order to fund a transfer for Victor Gyokeres. I mean, he probably would be the dream option, wouldn't he, realistically? But it's just whether we are in a position where we can just spend 100 million euros on one player. Because when you look at our squad, you're thinking in the summer we need at least one centre-back, maybe two. We need a left wing-back. Luke Shaw's not reliable. Malasia's, I don't think, good enough personally. We're probably going to need another midfielder because Eriksen's going to go. We're going to need probably another attacking player because we sold Greenwood, Sancho, Pellistri all in the summer. We sold 3 attacking players last summer and we only signed Joshua Zirkzee. So you can already kind of see throughout the squad that we need lots and lots of signings. Probably 3 or 4 minimum. Left wing back, centre back, probably a winger, a midfielder, a second goalkeeper by the sounds of it, and maybe another striker. I mean, that's 6 players that we need. And can we afford to spend 100 million on one of those 6 players? Probably not, because our total budget, if we're not in the Champions League, will probably be about 100 million net, I reckon. Tops, maybe even less. It might be like 70 or 80 net. So when I say net, I mean how much we spend versus how much we sell players for. I think last summer our total spend was about 80 million net, and that was when we had Europa League football, which we might not even have next season. And I know that sounds a little bit negative, but you never know, do you? Yeah, our net spend last season was 103 million euros, which is what's that in pounds? It's less than 85 million pounds our net spend was. So we're not going to spend any more than that. That's the general gist of it, especially if we're not in the Champions League. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. I think in reality, the likelihood of us getting Victor Gyokeres, I think, is quite small. Not because we don't have the pool to sign him. I just think the money involved in it's going to be too much. And the story also goes on to say that apparently Man City are really keen on signing him. Obviously, Man City are in an absolute mess at the moment. They're probably going to go and spend big in the transfer windows, I reckon, now to try and salvage the situation. But yeah, it'd be interesting to get you guys' thoughts. Would you go all out and spend 100 million on Victor Gyokeres, or do you think the money should be kind of more spread across the squad? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But keeping on the topic of how we're going to fund transfers, let's talk a little bit about outgoings, because there is a story this morning saying that apparently Real Madrid are interested in signing Diogo Dalot. And I'd be interested to know what you guys think about Diogo Dalot. Would you sell Dalot? So the story is this. It says that Real Madrid have inquired to Manchester United about Diogo Dalot. And apparently Manchester United have told Real Madrid that they want 50 million euros for Diogo Dalot. I personally would sell Diogo Dalot for 50 million euros. I think, like, you know, financial fair play is such an important thing now. And you know, if we were able to get 50 million for Dalot, I think it would be good business. We paid 22 million for him in 2018. So if we got 50 for him, that would be 28 million euros profit, which is pretty decent, I think. And that would then allow us to go and spend money in other areas. I think Dalot's a good player. I like him. But I don't think he's world class personally. I think he's a good squad player, definitely. You know, I think he's better than Malacia. But is he worth 50 million? I don't think he's worth 50 million. I would say he's probably worth about 30, roughly, around that kind of figure. That's why I'm kind of saying I would sell him. If someone's willing to give us 50 million for him, which Real Madrid supposedly are, then I think you probably have to do it, don't you? Especially as, you know, at the moment, you've got Ahmad, who's the right wing back and is absolutely controlling that position. Like, the right wing back position is Ahmad's position. Would we all agree on that? And then the left wing back position, obviously we've tried Anthony out there. That was okay, I guess. I mean, Dalot's not even a left back, is he? He's a right back, really. So you've got him playing not only out of position, but sorry, not only on the wrong side, but you've now got him playing in a position that's not really natural to him, you know? So I would much rather, if Ruben Amorim's going to be the manager for the long term, which I think he will be, I think, you know, if you were able to get a decent amount of money for Diogo Dalot, then you could go and invest that in a specialist left wing back. And then you'd still obviously have Malacia as a backup. On the other side, you'd have Ahmad, and then I guess Anthony as the backup. I mean, it doesn't sound great, does it? I mean, Mazraoui can obviously play at right wing back as well. You know, yeah. I mean, when you look at it like that, right? Let's paraphrase this. So we got Mazraoui in the summer for, let me just make sure I get my facts right. It was around £12 million, wasn't it? Around that kind of figure. So they're both the same age. Mazraoui is 26 and Dalot is 25. We paid 15 million euros for Mazraoui, who's 1 year older than Dalot. If I had to pick between Mazraoui and Dalot, I'd pick Mazraoui any day of the week. He's absolutely quality. I love Mazraoui. He's been unbelievable so far this season. And if I said to you that Mazraoui cost us 15 million euros and we could sell Dalot for 50 million euros, I think most of you would do it, wouldn't you? So that's kind of how I see this. You know, we've signed a better player than Dalot for a third of the price that Real Madrid are willing to pay for Dalot. So, yeah. And this isn't me bashing Dalot, by the way. I just think 50 million is a lot of money. And obviously, as I said, if you only pay 22 million for Dalot, just when we bought him, and then you can get 50, that would really help our profit and sustainability. So that's my take on that, but obviously you can let me know your thoughts. We've got a super chat coming in from Carl Took. Thank you very much for your support. Carl has said, he says, Dalot is awful on the left. I would bite Madrid's hand off for 50 million. I mean, that was kind of what I was thinking, but I didn't want to be too harsh. You know, on this channel, I don't, you know, try and bash players too much, but that was kind of what I was thinking, you know. I've criticised Dalot quite a lot recently, and, you know, some people seem to think Dalot's this, like, world-class player. I just don't see it. He's okay defensively, but he does have a lot of mistakes in his game, especially with positioning. He can't really cross the ball. He's relatively quick, but he doesn't really ever actually create any end product, does he? If you think about it. Like, he runs up the pitch, but then doesn't really actually do anything with it. I think he's just one of those players who's not particularly good at anything, but he's not particularly bad at anything. Do you know what I mean? He's just kind of middle of the road. Like, he's okay defensively. He's okay going forward. Do you know what I mean? Would you agree with that? Whereas Wan-Bissaka was world-class defensively and terrible going forward, you know? Like, that. But I don't think Dalot's really like that. I just think he's, like, bang average at everything. Which maybe sounds a little bit harsh, but that's just my opinion. The one thing I do like about Diogo Dalot, though, just to, you know, give a fair report, is his attitude, his mentality. He makes himself available. I think he's only missed one game in a very, very long time. We've got another super chat coming in here from Ant. Thank you for your support, my friend. Ant says, Madrid are welcome to Dalot. We can have Alphonso Davies instead. I mean, that's a very, very good point there. Obviously, Alphonso Davies is available as a free agent next summer. So, you know, if there's a world where we sell Dalot to Real Madrid for 50 million and then we get Alphonso Davies for free, Like that'd be really good. Somebody says, I can't believe we're talking about selling Dalot. This is crazy. I mean, well, it is a news show, my friend. That's the point of the show. And the news today is that apparently Real Madrid want to buy him for 50 million, which, I mean, let's put it this way, right? If the story said Real Madrid want to buy Dalot for 5 million euros, I would say that's not going to happen. That's stupid. I wouldn't do that. But I just think 50 million is such a large amount of money. That's why it's kind of caught my attention. Does that make sense? You can't say no to 50 million euros, I don't think, especially in the current market, especially in Manchester United's current financial situation, especially especially because Ruben Amorim's going to want to bring his own players in. So, although I from what I've heard and seen, I think Ruben Amorim is a big fan of Diogo Dalot. That says, what about Frimpong? I like Frimpong. I don't really know what's going on with Frimpong, to be honest. I think like the stories of Frimpong leaving Bayern Leverkusen have gone kind of quiet. I know he had a release clause last summer, but that seems to have gone now. He's still got a really long contract. That's the thing, Frimpong. He's still got 4 years left on his contract. So I don't think Bayern Leverkusen will be in a hurry to sell him. He's still very young. He's only 23. Yeah, I mean, it's an option, isn't it? But he does play on the right, though, remember, Frimpong, which is where Ahmad's playing. So I think we're more looking at the left wing-back position, where obviously Alphonso Davies is a really good option. But yeah, I do still like Frimpong. I just don't think it will probably happen now. Somebody says, Alphonso Davies is a massive upgrade on Diogo Dalot. I don't see why other people can't see it. I would agree. Fred says, what's your reaction to the FA Cup draw against Arsenal? I mean, it's disappointing, isn't it? Because obviously we'd hoped we'd win a trophy this season, and having to go away to Arsenal in the third round of the FA Cup is probably, well, it's the second or third hardest fixture you could get. Liverpool's probably the hardest at the moment. Arsenal's the second, and it's away from home. So, yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, is it? But I think at the same time, my priority still is to win the Europa League. I think that should be the priority for Manchester United. Obviously, you want to finish in the top four and all the rest of it, but I honestly do think we could win the Europa League this season. So, I mean, if we were to get knocked out of the FA Cup, I don't think it's the end of the world, to be honest. Obviously, I'd rather not get knocked out, but I would rather win the Europa League this season than the FA Cup, personally. So I don't know. I'm trying to justify in my head that it's not that bad. Obviously, I'd have much rather we played, I don't know, Salford at home or something. But it is what it is, isn't it? Right, I'm gonna wrap the video up here, guys. My throat's a little bit sore today, so I'm not gonna go on for too much longer. But thank you very much for watching today. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye for now.